Welcome to the Crater Lakes National Park. Today I'm going to try to find a waterfall that I've seen on a map but never actually seen any pictures of. There are pictures claiming to be of these falls, but I know that that's actually another falls entirely, so let's see what we find. I just love this sound we can hear. Is nature. There's the gentle lapping of the creek. When you walk, your footsteps are almost thunderous. This path, as far as I know, was cleared back in 1939. It's the only article I can find about it on Trove, so it is a little overgrown. Sometimes you have to go and zigzag up the bank to try and keep going. Sometimes you're on your hands and your knees, but it is beautiful. So I'm not sure if this is the falls or not. It's the first thing I've come across which is vaguely like it. Regardless, it's really pretty. As you can see, paths are a little bit interesting. Okay, hopefully just over my right shoulder you can see the falls. I think we're definitely in the right place. So let's try and get down to the bottom and see what's there. So you're seeing this for the first time, as am I. Never been here before. I've never seen any pictures. I'm like, wow, this is a pretty little waterfall. So obviously the light's a little bit harsh at the moment for taking photos, but I'm going to crawl to the bottom and see what we can find. I'm not 100% sure what a good time of day would be here because the canopy is so high. The sun is never really going to reach through until it's really well elevated and you're getting that harsh light. Okay, I'm set up to take a panorama of this because I think it'll work. I've just tried to go a bit further down and across, but unfortunately, I think the actual vine from the wait a while, which is just up there, then just gets in the picture too much and obstructs the waterfall. So we're going to shoot the pano from here and I'll show you how it turns out. Okay, I've come a little bit further down the falls. I'm just trying to get some of these lower tiers into the composition as well. Unfortunately, the sky has cleared and the sun's come out, which has made it a little bit harsh. So luckily, there is still a bit of cloud. So I'm just going to wait for the sun to tuck behind the cloud and get an image from here. Okay, so that was Shannon Falls in the Crater Lakes National Park. What I can say is the QTopo maps for Queensland are really good. They'll show lots of waterfalls that you won't find in any walking guides, trail guides and the like. But if you can work it out and do a little bit of research, you can find some real hidden treasures. As you see, the trail is a little nondescript at this point in time. But there are the occasional pink marker. Normally along this track, I've found those have been more so where you have to turn off of the trail to try and get round where trees have fallen or wait a while's got a bit too thick to get through. The other thing it's worth saying about this creek is that it is home to platypus. I've heard one today and I have seen them in another section of this creek before, so it's always worth treading carefully and keeping your eye out. I've found a lot of the time that platypus can be active all day. I think they are renowned to be more active at dawn and dusk, but there's always a chance of seeing them. It's another point worth making. While in Australia, you're always warned about crocodiles and snakes and spiders. To be honest, in this part of the world, the plants are the things that you have to watch out for. I don't know if I'm going to be able to quite focus on this. So this is wait a while, and it's basically every part of this plant is a complete bastard. So, as you can see, that section's spiky. There are spikes on the fronds, and then they also throw out runners that have spikes on. If you ever get caught, just stop, and then just be really gentle, and you'll manage to untag yourself. But if you try to pull, or if you're running and you get caught, you can get some really bad cuts and bruises. So that's my tip. Watch out for the plants, even those like to get you in Australia. I guess it should be said that this is also potentially cassowary country, and tree kangaroos, and also wallabies, as well as other numerous different kinds of birds. So it's always worth keeping an eye out for those as well. One of the issues we do have out here is obviously you're not going to get much mobile phone signal. So if you're used to navigating and expecting to have a map that updates from the internet, you're going to be out of luck. The one thing that's kind of easy when you're always walking near a creek is to make sure you keep the creek on the appropriate shoulder, a bit like when you're diving, and keeping that wall and then keeping it on the other shoulder when you come back. So you should never really get lost. As long as you can find the creek, you can always follow that water line back to where you started. Sometimes it's really good just to stop and listen. We're so caught up in our day-to-day lives with noise of humanity blocking out the noise of nature. And I think all of us at times need to have that reconnect with nature. We need to hug the trees, listen to the insects, enjoy the animals, and respect our environment. At the end of the day, the landscape isn't really just there for us to take pretty pictures. The landscape exists for every creature on this planet to be able to eke out an existence. And it's important for us to remember that we're only a small part of a much, much bigger ecosystem. You just got to marvel at these buttress roots. Okay, so the only reason that we can probably still get along here is because of the way these trees stabilise the edge of the path. So always hug your trees and say thank you. Thank you, tree. Hopefully you're able to make these out. These are king ferns. You can see they aren't actually terribly common, but you quite often find them in this part of the world by the creek beds. I've never actually walked down this bit of the path before. I've got a good idea where it ends up, but quite often it's a little bit too wet, and previously my walking boots have been really good until I'm on wet rock, and then they become somewhat like ice skates. So that's probably why I've never been through it before. It's beautiful and so peaceful. Anyway, this section of the walk takes you up to a waterfall known as Vision Falls. It isn't particularly well visited, which is a good thing because it just isn't big enough. And if there were tons of people and this got Instagram worthy, it would be destroyed. So it's partly why Parks and Wildlife try to keep it fairly hidden. Now, I have to say, the first time I came here, this place just absolutely took my breath away. It was just beautiful. It's not big. It isn't powerful in terms of water flow, but there's just an absolutely timeless elegance and level of serenity. I have to say, I've never managed to come here when the flow of water has been ideal. It's either been a bit of a trickle, like it is today, or it's been running so hard that you can't even get a camera out because the mist coming. One day, I will get my timing right and try and get an image here. But anyway. I just love it here. That's it for my trek through Crater Lakes National Park. As you can see, I'm wringing wet with sweat. It's a humid environment. So if you choose to come here, just be respectful, be quiet, take your time, embrace, enjoy, and just respect the environment. It's imperiled. All the governments in the world seem to be treating the natural world with disdain. If you don't have an environment, you don't have anything else. Hopefully one day these people will get that, but it's probably going to be the younger generation that affects that change.